The world of The Witcher is home to very many different monsters. Not many of these monsters pose a very difficult challenge for people like our main character, Geralt of Rivia, but nonetheless they're very scary and formidable for your average Joe. In today's video, however, I'd like to peer into what is formidable for our main character even, Geralt of Rivia, and some other top tiers of the universe. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the sort, but today I'd like to cover the top 10 strongest monsters in the Witcher universe, covering both the games and the book lore. Before we get straight into the video, I'd like to ask you guys to subscribe and like the video if you end up liking the video, as it greatly supports the channel, and of course the better that the channel does, the more time I'm going to have to put into these projects. But all distractions aside, let's get straight into the monstrosities that lie in the Witcher universe. So, getting right into things, in spot number 10, we have the Cairn. The Cairn is a post-conjunction of spheres abomination that resides in Flotsam, a small town known for its consistent issues with the Scoia'tael. The Cairn was a menace in Flotsam for snatching people from the lands, typically from the docks and other places near water. Something that made the Cairn so particularly tricky to combat for the armies in Flotsam was the fact that it resided in water, and obviously it's nigh impossible to kill when it's in its own habitat. Fortunately for Geralt, he had the help of Sheila, a very powerful sorceress. Even so, with it being on land, it required multiple hacks away at weak points even to damage the appendages of the Cairn, which individually weigh that of a trebuchet arm according to the wiki and are covered in poisonous mucus. The Cairn can spit vile venom which is lethal to most, although obviously it's not going to outright kill our infamous Witcher. It cannot bleed to death and it's immune to poison entirely, as you probably suspect for a poisonous creature. In The Witcher 2 and in lore, this is one of the hardest fights Geralt has ever had with a single opponent, and that's with all the help and preparation taken into mind. And for these reasons, I think that the Cairn is a worthy challenger for the number 10 spot on my top 10 strongest monsters in The Witcher. Coming in for the number 9 spot, arguably number 10, it's kind of interchangeable, is the Draug. Yet another monster from The Witcher 2, and it really seems like Geralt had his work cut out for him in The Witcher 2, but not nearly as much as he did in The Witcher 3 and in the books, as we'll find out later. The Draug is a huge, fiery monstrosity wielding a sword and shield. The Draug is capable of turning into a fiery tornado mid-fight, which will obviously burn you, but also leaves him invulnerable during this period, at least to conventional methods such as using a silver sword. The Draug is also capable of summoning an army full of archers and trebuchets which will rain down on you while you're trying to fight this huge behemoth already. To speak a little bit on the lore of the Draug was a general of the Caedwenni forces called Vandergrift. Vandergrift was already notably strong before resurrecting as this monstrosity. I'm basing this off of the fact that he cut down Selkirk of Goulet, King Demavend's champion, in battle. The two had history, and he had actually lost to Selkirk before. However, their most recent and final duel was fatal for Selkirk, and Vandergrift came out on top. Geralt was able to squeak out a victory against the Draug and his army, but not without great effort, and I believe that the Cairn and Draug are relative, hence why they are number 9 and 10 respectively. But I give the higher spot to the Draug ultimately, placing him at number 9. In the number 8 spot, we have the Black Beauty. While the Black Beauty isn't something you can fight, it's certainly an incredibly powerful being, which I'm going to class as a monster for this ranking. For those of you who've played The Witcher 3, you'll be very familiar with this quest where you free the spirit from the tree, or you destroy the spirit entirely. The Black Beauty is the result of this spirit being freed from the tree, the Whispering Hillock. To give an idea as to what the spirit is and what it can do, it's believed that it is the mother of the crones, which you can read about in the in-game book She Who Knows. The information in this book, however, is very old and not considered to be 100% true, but then again, it's probably the best we have. In the story She Who Knows, the mother ended up going mad and had her body destroyed by the crones, and after having her body destroyed, her immortal spirit was trapped inside of the tree. Speaking about the mother and the crones, the reason I consider her to be so strong is due to her initial confidence and certain ability, proven ability even, to ruin the crones' plan to eat the children. The crones planned on eating the orphans at Crookback Bog, but after freeing the spirit from the tree, she says that she has a way to save the children, and Geralt commands her to do so. After saving the children, she sends the entirety of Downwarren into madness, other than the aldermen. If you return to the town later on in your playthrough, you'll see it destroyed and littered with wraiths. With these things in mind, this is why I think that the Black Beauty is number 8 on my list. After all, ruining the crones' plan is no easy feat. Ranking in right after their mother, we have the crones. To absolutely nobody's surprise, this is their spot on the list, for one very simple reason. They were capable of destroying their mother's body and sealing her when working together. Individually, they may be weaker than her individually, however together, I believe them to be more powerful. The crones are ancient and powerful mages, very powerful mages. They reappear throughout the story a few times, one time when Ciri ends up in Crookback Bog and they look after her, but in reality they just want to eat her because she's of the Elder Blood. Ultimately, Ciri overhears this and escapes with Eredin on her tail. The crones are capable of peering into the future and creating curses or blessings. An example of this is when they curse the Baron's wife Anna to become a water hag at the end of the questline. The crones, however, meet a very grim fate by Ciri's hand later, besides the Weavess, who narrowly escapes a gruesome death by Ciri's hand. The fact that they can even challenge Ciri is alone a crazy feat. All of this giving them a high ranking spot at number 7. Number 6, we have our first entry from the books, that being Villain Trettenmirth, otherwise known as Borch 3 Jackdaws. I'm going to refer to him as Borch simply because it's easier to say, but that is his human name and Villain Trettenmirth is his draconic name. Borch is one of the 2 known golden dragons in The Witcher, and is a worshipped and well-respected ancient mystery. Borch was first shown in combat in the short story Bounds of Reason in the Sword of Destiny. A great knight, known as Ike of Denzil, challenged Borch first. This knight was a great warrior who took on monsters regularly, dispatching them with ease, including draconids and allegedly dragons too. So too, Yarpen Zigrin and his band of dwarves were there, and the Reapers alongside them, a group of 3 who specialized in killing dragon. Alas, all were dispatched by Villain Trettenmirth with ease. I want you to think about that for a minute. On top of that, just the icing on the cake, this was all whilst limiting himself as he was protecting his child. This limited Borch to what he could use, as he didn't want to hurt his own child. Borch is not only one of my favorite characters of all time in the Witcher series, but he's one of the strongest too, placing him at number 6. Now the books are well and truly on a roll, as we have our second entry from the books here, being the V of Maribor. The V was created due to a combination of great magic and terrible luck. I quote, "The V of Maribor is a gigantic centipede conjured by a mage known as Alzor. Upon being summoned, it killed Alzor and destroyed half the city of Maribor effortlessly." What a crazy thing to think about, especially in the world of The Witcher, where things like that are incredibly rare. After causing mass destruction in Maribor and leaving it to die, the creature went to rest, seemingly forever. That is until the Council of Mages gathered and tried to bind the creature with powerful magic. The V of Maribor, however, had different plans. Proving rather resistant, the V shrugged it off. After dispatching with the last member of the council, the V went off to Dol Dulok, a vile bed of monsters no Witcher or group of Witchers has ever successfully cleared. Most Witchers go there to die a valiant death. The V was an absolute monster and most certainly deserves a top spot in this list. But genuinely, I want you to think as Witcher fans, or perhaps new fans to the series. When you think of The Witcher, do you think of half of a city being destroyed? Destroying half of a city is certainly nothing to scoff at. The V of Maribor truly is a monstrosity I wish to never see in future adaptations of this series, ranking in at number 5. Insane speed, regeneration, and razor-sharp claws. Is there anything that this creature doesn't have? Yes, I am talking about the Unseen Elder from Blood and Wine. Taking a step up from normal vampires is a higher vampire, something that even Geralt from the game struggles with, and taking a step above that, maybe a few more than one step, is the Unseen. The Unseen are incomprehensibly strong. As higher vampires cannot be killed unless by another higher vampire, the Unseen cannot be killed unless by another higher vampire, or another Unseen, I guess. The Unseen Elder that we interact with in Blood and Wine resides in a cave guarding the Gate, a portal back to their world that's not functioning anymore. It transported them to the human world during the conjunction of spheres. The Elder despises interaction, and one should probably bring an incredible reason for disturbing one before visiting. Throughout the cutscene with the Unseen Elder, he's shown to be imperceptibly quick, even to Regis and Geralt, both incredibly strong characters. If, however, you do mess up the dialogue when the Unseen Elder gives you a chance, Geralt will have his throat slit at an imperceptible speed. So basically, Geralt stands absolutely no chance. Incomprehensible speed, nigh immortality, regeneration and sharp claws to rip anything to shreds, the Unseen Elder is more than worthy of the number 4 spot on this list. But with such a being only number 4, it begs the question, who sits even higher? Finally making our way into the top 3, we have Jinns, Dao, Afrits, and Marids. Or Marids. Listen, I'm not the pronunciation guy, okay? I'm the Witcher guy. Leave me alone. The number 3 spot is shared here, between 4 entities that are alike but not the same. Jinns are air elementals, Dao are earth elementals, Afrits are fire elementals, and Marids are water elementals. Jinns, Dao, Afrits, and Marids alike are all powerful genie. First time we see one is in The Last Wish. The Jinn is causing havoc in Rind, a city in Redania, and Yennefer and Geralt are also on the scene. Can these two actually go anywhere together without ruining a city or something? Numerous times throughout this encounter, the Jinn almost kills Geralt and Yen, and they're saved only by Geralt's wit and finding out that he has the last wish. You see what I did there? Awful jokes aside, Geralt used his last wish and bid the Jinn farewell, saving both of their lives. Similarly, in lore, a Dao moved a mountain for Herbert Stammelford, who was controlling it, but the Dao did all of the heavy lifting, really, simply because it was in the way of his tower. From destroying cities to moving mountains, I think this is why the Elementas sit comfortably in the top 3, and number 3, debatably higher. Perhaps for the first time in the video, you will now question my Witcher knowledge, but I'm more than happy to discuss and debate in the comments below. Number 2, Dagon. Something I'd like to preface this part by saying is that I think a lot of other lists sort of oversight Dagon and write him off as weak, and I think this is unfair, although he doesn't really do anything, so I don't blame them. I will explain exactly why Dagon is number 2. Dagon is an ancient deity who lives at the bottom of a huge lake. Dagon is praised by the Vodunoi and a small group of humans. Dagon is also incredibly powerful and outright stated to be unkillable because he's a god. Dagon does, however, rely on his followers for energy, which may be his only weakness, though I believe he still remains unkillable. I doubt killing his followers would get rid of Dagon entirely, but it would make him retreat for a while, as we saw in The Witcher 1. And here's exactly why I think that Dagon is number 2, because only number 1 has something even greater than what I'm about to say. In the very journal entry for Dagon, it is stated, gods and demons sleep in underwater cities awaiting their time, and it is said that when the hour comes, they will awaken and bring annihilation to the world. Dagon is then stated to be one such creature, bringing annihilation to the world. Name one person below this that has anything to match that. On top of that statement itself, Dagon also has control of an entire army that he can summon to fight. Inside of this army are ancient monsters like foglets and leshens. That's a pretty formidable foe if you ask me. With all of this new information in mind, this is why I have Dagon above things like Jinns or the Unseen that would normally take his place in lists like this from other creators. With all that said and done, Dagon makes it to number 2 in the Witcherverse. Before we move into the number 1 strongest in the Witcherverse, I'd like to talk about some honorable mentions. These are things I either didn't add because 1, they are a group of things, or 2, they are strong but didn't make the cut. Very quickly going to glaze over them. Honorable mention number 1 being dragons. While we have the creme de la creme of dragons, Villain Trettenmirth, thought I'd mention dragons in general too, as they're still very powerful even if they're not golden. Dragons are incredibly strong beings, and I hardly need to explain this any further considering how feared and respected they are in dialogue both throughout the books and the game. Honorable mention number 2, higher vampire. In the same breath as dragons, we have higher vampires. Once again, we have one of the top dogs of higher vampires in the Unseen Elders. I wanted to give credit where credit is due to these immortal bloodsuckers. It'd also be a damn shame to go a whole video without mentioning Regis. Man, I love Regis. The third and final honorable mention being unicorns. Unicorns are in a little bit of a weird spot. I mean, they could literally be number 1, 2, 3, or they could totally not make the top 10, so let's talk about it. As a Scottish person, I have a natural affinity towards these animals because for some reason that's our national animal. But anyways, unicorns possess the Elder Blood much like Ciri, and they're shown to be able to take out users of the Elder Blood, whether they're exploiting it from a source or they are a source. They're capable of traveling the multiverse and generally speak very minimalistically via telepathy. They're otherworldly in a sense that they're beyond the laws of the world, much like the number 1 spot on this list. Hence why I didn't really know where to put them, but I wanted to give them the top honorable mention spot. Let me know what you guys think of unicorns in the comments below. But without further ado, let's talk about our highly anticipated, probably well guessed number 1 spot. Ladies and gentlemen, to absolutely nobody's surprise whatsoever, Gaunter of Dimm is number 1 on this list. To cover very briefly what Gaunter is capable of, he can stop time with the clap of his hands, extract your soul, and is incredibly intelligent. He's seemingly nigh omniscient with how much he knows. The way I like to explain Gaunter of Dimm's power is, if you can imagine it, he can likely do it, although it does seem he has some level of limitations. And the very reason that Gaunter of Dimm is number 1 on my list is because he is otherworldly entirely. Unlike everything else on this list, we know what they are because of information we're giving in the universe. Gaunter of Dimm, however, we know next to nothing about, and he likes to keep it that way, doesn't he? I have a lot to say about Mr. O'Dimm. If you guys want to see a video solely dedicated to Gaunter of Dimm, I will be more than happy to do so. I'm pretty sure that I've recently found something that kind of proves that he's going to return in future installments, and I may make a video on it soon. So perhaps, down the line, we can pull down the curtains and find out exactly who the Master Mirror truly is. But for now, he remains a mystery and a mangy vagrant. That'll just about wrap us up for this video. If you think I got any of the spots wrong in this video, please let me know in the comments below and why you think I got it wrong or what should be where. If you would like extensive discussion about Witcher topics or today's video, please be sure to join the Discord. And I'll ask one more time, if you guys could like and sub, it greatly supports the channel and the dream. I hope you all have an absolutely phenomenal day and take care of yourselves. Love.